Hey, it's Checkmate, and in this video I will teach you how to access the secret boss and get the true ending for Die in the Dungeon. Naturally, there will be spoilers discussed, but if you are just looking for information on how to access the fight, then watch the first chapter, and I will put a spoiler warning before we actually discuss what that secret boss fight is like and who it is. If you are looking for the overall best method to defeat the true ending boss fight itself, then you can skip to that part of the video. Please drop a like first, and if you want to see more guides for Die in the Dungeon, then subscribe to the channel to get notified as I make them. Okay, first let's talk about how to unlock the true ending boss fight itself. And the way you do this is you beat the boss challenges in Area 1 and Area 2, and you keep the boss relics you get from those challenges. Then you beat the Mosquito Duke challenge at the end of Area 3, and that's how you trigger the final boss and the secret true ending. These boss challenges are called ultimate kills, so I'll refer to them as both boss challenges and ultimate kills throughout the video. Now, boss challenges are not available on the very first run of a file, you only encounter them later. They can appear as soon as your second run in the game, whether you unlock challenges or no, and they're also not disabled whenever you disable the challenges in the character selection when starting a new run. This feels a little bit weird and maybe a bit buggy, so it may be changed in the future. So what are the boss ultimate kills and what's the best way to get them? Let's go over each boss in Area 1 and Area 2. Also, if you're having trouble with the bosses in general and are just looking for tips to beat those, I'll shout out my own video. I'll put the link in the description and on the screen where I give a full guide for every boss in Die in the Dungeon and how to defeat them. Let's start with the Scorpion Rider. Its ultimate kill is to defeat the Scorpion Mount without using the small opening slot for attack dice. I think this makes for a really neat challenge, because it kind of goes against the meta of defeating this boss easily. Since the Scorpion Rider is in the first area, you don't really have a lot of time for deck building, but you want to make sure that you're able to block enough damage each time and then slowly chip away at the Mount. Ideally, you're looking for consistency in your deck to be able to block 13 damage each time, and then enough energy and consistent attack that you can keep playing your attack die and deal at least a little bit of damage each turn. Putting Grow on your block will make this fight pretty safe. After a while, the one die will be doing so much block by itself, you won't even need to boost it and still be able to block all the attacks from the Scorpion. A terrain die is also a good pick here. You can use a terrain spot to build up a large boost in a single spot, which you can use to boost up your attack dice, your block dice, and then even to heal up full at the end. A mirror die is pretty powerful too. It allows you to be flexible and block until your block grows enough, and then you can switch the mirror over to your attack to make this battle go faster. And there's actually a bug you can exploit as well. If you can stun the rider in one hit with a flash attack die on the small opening slot, the challenge doesn't fail. This, of course, could be fixed at any point in the future. Now, when you play a Cinder, if you don't have Hollow on your D8 splash attack, then make sure you have a lower energy attack to play. You really need to have some source of stall, either Grow block with a mirror or some terrain dice. Now, if you're playing with Listver's Poison or with Nira's Parry modifier, you might accidentally stun the rider, but don't worry, that doesn't actually fail the challenge. However, if you rely only on Nira's parry attack, this fight is painfully slow, so I'd recommend keeping an attack die. Now keep in mind when playing as Mango that she has no heal in her starting deck, so any damage she takes can be permanent. You'll want to avoid taking too much damage at the beginning, so if you upgrade your D8 block to silver so it rolls 4s and 6s, upgrade your boost dice to roll 3s, and add Pack to your D4 block, you should be able to stay safe on that initial turn. But your heavy D8 block will slowly lose value, so keep that in mind as well. Also, if a heavy attack is stuck to the board and the small opening spawns underneath it, it won't fail the challenge either. On higher difficulties, the attack and health values of both the Scorpion and the Rider get higher, so the combined attacks can be 16 or even 18 damage. But the main change for the Rider to be stunned for one turn instead of 2 doesn't affect the challenge difficulty. Once you successfully ultimate kill the Scorpion, you'll get the Scorpion Skewer boss relic. On odd turns, it adds an exposed slot to the board, which will double the value of attack dice that are placed on it. Out of all the boss relics, this one's one of my favorite. It's the best one for just outputting sheer damage, and will definitely help you in the next area, its ultimate kill, and of course, the secret final boss. Next, let's talk about the Croissantpillar Chef. Its ultimate kill is to defeat the chef before turn 5. This fight is more difficult than the Scorpion Rider because stalling is actually detrimental. You'll want to make sure you can survive the first hit. 9 damage from the chef alone is no joke. Potions can be helpful here, like a holy potion or a major block potion, and if you increase your max HP during area 1, you have a little more tankiness. You'll want to use any opportunity on the map you can to deck build. Aim for elite battles to get more relics, money, and opportunities to find find terrain dice, strong D4 boosts or attacks, and good mirror dice. The turn counter stops when you kill the chef, so focus on them. The chef needs to die on turn 4 or you fail the challenge. So definitely focus on killing the chef, take some damage, and you can kill the small caterpillars later. When you're playing as Cinder, of course, the splash attacks wipe the board, so you can play a little more aggro without worrying too much about the small attacks coming in from the weaker enemies, and the chef's behavior will be a little more passive. For Mango, prioritize playing your D8 attack first. You can use the boss rewards to heal at the battle, so it's worth taking the damage so you can start killing that chef. When you're playing as Lucifer, he starts with many attack dice, so relics like Crimson Blade or Melting Knife that boost attack dice are very strong for him. The Scarlet Flask gives poison randomly. Definitely avoid relics like Blindfold of Rage, since you'll need to target the chef. When you're playing as Nira, don't rely solely on parry. That's much too slow. You're going to have to use attack dice. And speaking of Nira, on higher difficulties, Nira can get turn 1 KO'd because she has such low starting max HP, and the chef will have more attack. And when you successfully complete this ultimate kill, you'll get the Cocoa Filling relic, which means at the start of every battle, a random enemy will get a super tasty modifier added to them. Whenever you kill that enemy, you'll get +2 max HP. This is a pretty nice relic too, as it just overall increases your tankiness and HP pool. Now we talk about the Queen Bee. The ultimate kill challenge for her is to defeat the Queen Bee without using Royal Jelly slots. This is another clever challenge very similar to the Scorpion, in which it blocks kind of the intended path of beating this boss, requiring you to just brute force it with a strong build. Your path here is to kill the worker bees first, because their dice are just clogging up the board at this point. I compared this fight to the Scorpion fight in the way that you're brute forcing it, but there are some differences. The damage is more inconsistent from the Queen Bee, but it can be much higher. That means 20 damage in a single attack for the charged multi-attack stage, and that's even higher on D3 difficulty. Also, the Queen Bee's mechanics can flood your deck with honey, so play these on the board as often as you can to avoid losing your draw. You'll want to learn the anti-boost patterns for each board, so that way the honey dice are targeting as few spots as possible. And watch out for accidental Royal Jelly. Now, playing dice on the crown spots is fine, as long as the honey dice don't target it and turn it into Royal Jelly. Since this boss fight is in Area 2, there's a lot more time to deck build, so there's fewer character-specific limitations. Cinder definitely suffers the most here with the fewer anti-boost patterns for her board, so the honey dice get in the way a lot more, especially from those first 2 bee workers, whereas the other characters might be able to get away a turn or two without killing those enemies. And when playing at D3 or higher, aside from the overall HP and attack values, the main change of the mechanic to only have 1 crown spot actually helps you with this challenge, since there are fewer places to dodge. When you ultimate kill the Queen Bee, you get Piece of Crown, which means on even turns you add 1 glass Royal Jelly die to your draw pile. Royal Jelly is a D8 die very similar to a honey die, but instead it casts Royal Jelly on the spots that it targets. Hey, that's another way to double dice that you play on it. Now that being said, these are D8 dice, so they take 2 energy to play. So unless you already have really strong draw and energy management, this relic could actually hurt your deck. And the Mantis twins, also in Area 2. Their ultimate kill is do not defeat any Mantis before turn 7. This is kind of the opposite take of the Croissantpillar chef, where now the challenge is we have to stall. This is of course difficult because your board is covered with monitor slots, and every turn that passes increases the damage that the attack actions do for each of the Mantises. Flash Block is very helpful specifically for this challenge. You can boost a spot on the green Mantis spots and play your Flash Block, otherwise the green Mantis would buff attacks higher and cancel out the block gain if it wasn't Flash. An exception is Mirror Dice, since the green Scythe will only copy the face value of the mirror and not the copied value. Another strategy you could take is just playing a Grow Block consistently on the open spot, and you can avoid taking too much damage on those first turns. Finally, it's usually best just to place a boost or a block on a purple spot and take the 1 damage from the sickle, rather than take a large hit as the turns ramp up. Now, your build should be able to kill the Mantises in 1 turn. The trick is keeping them alive while still surviving, so beware passive damage relics that might inadvertently kill a Mantis. On turn 7, kill the first Mantis boss and trigger the second phase. If you rely on flash attack for your build, then kill the purple Mantis first, otherwise just always kill the green Mantis first. This boss challenge is pretty difficult for Nira if you use her parry modifier. It's really difficult to balance gaining enough blocks so you don't take too much damage from the attacks of the Mantises, and gaining too much block so that your parry kills the mantises too early. Now when playing at D3 or higher, the Mantis Phase 1 has one of the most dramatic difficulty spikes than any other boss. It almost doubles the HP of the Phase 1 Mantises. That being said, the main thing that you'll change is just while deck building, making sure to specifically build a deck that can get through the fight quickly once turn 7 happens. And the boss reward relic that you'll get is Forbidden Edge. All dice gain extra value equal to the turn number, and whenever you kill an enemy, heal 4 HP. I don't think this one is necessarily as flashy as any of the other ones, but it is a solid relic and decently strong. It should help out in Area 3 and in the final boss fight. Now, at the end of Area 3, you still have to fight the Mosquito Duke and defeat his ultimate kill. You'll have to defeat the Mosquito Duke with no sting dice in your deck. There are many variations here. You have an entire run to build your build. But unless you kill the Duke in turn 1, you're gonna have to play sting dice. Now, the sting dice damages you after your block is added, so you don't have to worry about suddenly dying to an unblocked sting attack. Just try not to boost it too much and you should be fine. Now, in general, the faster that you can defeat the Duke, the better, because his leak spots and sting dice spam get worse if you lower his health slowly. Then once you have successfully ultimate killed him, he gives you a quippy little line about using his own relics against him. Looks like he's about to transform, and this is where we get into huge spoiler territory. So if you don't want to be spoiled for the actual secret boss and what the fight is like, this is your last warning. But just make sure to come back and watch the rest of the video after you've successfully got the true ending on your own. Thanks, I appreciate the support. The boss is Rain, the evil frog. He's Cinder's brother, and he's a dice knight like your character. Now, he's got a couple of gimmicks here that make this fight different than any other fight in the game. First of all, the board is expanded with another layer around the player board, so each frog gets a slightly different layout, but basically it's just a larger version of the same shape. And then Rain places his dice on the player board and on the new edge first, and this determines the actions that he takes, whether it's attack, block, heal, etc. Now, there are new mark spots on the board that change position every turn. These are called nullifier spots. When you place a boost die on these spots, every die that is targeted by that boost will be reduced to 0 value. So you can use this to your advantage to cancel out some of his attacks, if you have the right boost dice and if they happen to be in range. Now, after beating the first phase, which is 400 HP, Rain has some dialogue and then awakens with 800 HP. This is the most HP of any enemy outside of Endless Mode. Now for Phase 2, there's a new spot on the board that is also blocked in. It's the Evil Eye. This spot starts out as dormant and does nothing, but if it is not boosted each turn, up to 14 boost, then it awakens. The Awaken Eye will cause all of your dice to behave as if they have no properties applied. This can absolutely kill a run by itself if you relied on Double Dip or Hollow to help you manage your draw or energy. And every turn that the eye is awakened, it'll take one of your character modifiers and delete them. Now you can make the Evil Eye spot go dormant again, you just have to boost it again. So how do you actually beat both phases? There's a lot of different possibilities and synergies in the game that you can use, but let me talk through 3 methods here that are pretty simple to set up and are absolutely overpowered. First, let me introduce you to the multiplier die. Multiplier dice are fairly rare, but hopefully for the Area 1 boss reward, you can get this as a reward die. Then you'll want to pick up a prism die, and then also a boost die or just upgrade one of your starters. The prism die and the boost die should be able to target each other, whether that's 1 space away, 2 spaces away, 3 spaces away, etc. They should both be targeting each other. Then you place the multiplier die and target either the prism or the boost, and the results are pretty crazy. Then if you get a terrain die, preferably with flash, and add it to the mix, things get out of hand really fast. You can place the prism on a terrain spot, target it with boost, and that prism will cast the terrain spot as boost. Then you throw in, of course, your multiplier die, and it just gets broken really quickly. Terrain dice can be found in pretty much any area, and prism can be found in Area 1, but is pretty common in Area 2 and 3. The next build to look at is the good old quick draw. This is a speedrun strat that you can repurpose just because it's overpowered in general. What you need is an attack die with flash that costs 0 energy. This could be a D4 attack die with flash, a D6 with hollow and flash, or some other combination of energy saving relics. Basically, you can play this attack die again and again. Then to power it, you just need a source of draw. The best one and most consistent is a draw die. You can use haste or put flash on the draw die to play it immediately and get some draw, and then play your flash attack die over and over again, keep drawing it back in and playing it. You can get a little bit of extra draw modifier from potions or relics, or even use counterfeit note in a big stack of coins to be able to use money to draw dice back in. This method feels even a little more cheesy than the last one, but hey, a win's a win. Now if you're having trouble piecing these builds together, the last one I want to talk about brings things back to the basics. Just use Mango with Tungsten Hand. For the first area, hopefully you get the Scorpion battle for your first ultimate kill, and if not, you can just look at the map before you even play and just restart the run until you get him. You'll use your D8 heavy attack as your main source of damage and discard the D8 block attack as well as one of your extra boost dice, and overall upgrade your deck, look for double dip, look for another block die, and hopefully you pick up a multiplier die or a generator die or something before area 2. But really, Mango in the final rain fight is absolutely crazy. Using Tungsten Hand, she can completely rearrange all of Rain's dice without costing any energy. Now this feels like an exploit, this feels like a bug, so it may be fixed. But right now it's super easy to pick up all of his dice and place them around nullifiers and he does 0 attack. And then you can play your dice like nothing's wrong. You can even pick up the dormant evil die and place it somewhere where it will get the amount of boost that it needs. Mango is just completely overpowered here again. Now here's some pro tips in general that I think is useful for you to know. In the rain fight, mirrors are strong, especially the ones that can target multiple spaces on your normal board, but since the board is expanded, even normal rolling mirrors, like 4s for Cinder or 6s for Lisper, they can be really strong and target multiple dice, including multiple of Rain's dice. However, the mirror dice still take up a draw and they cost energy, so they're not always just a free win. Generator dice are a great way to build up boosted modifier. This can scale you quickly through the Duke fight and both Rain phases, especially if you have a couple of boost dice that can benefit. Verdant Potion and the Super Potion are kind of a double-edged sword. They definitely give all of your dice a great boost, and they can handle keeping that evil eye dormant, but that means all of Rain's dice get this boost. Same thing with terrain dice. I actually wouldn't recommend taking a terrain die into the secret boss fight, and if you do, it should probably have flash on it, because Rain plays his dice first, so he's probably just going to plop his die on your nice terrain boost and just completely murder you with it. Now super strong relics like Mark of the Chosen One are broken because Rain's dice are put on your board so they count as other dice on your board. But in phase 2, the evil eye actually counts as a 0 value die, so it also breaks Equestrian Piece, which is a pretty big bummer. And the awakened evil eye takes away the latest player modifier before the evil frog takes its turn, so don't rely on the holy potion to save you, because that's the latest modifier that you received, so the awakened evil eye will take it from you and then Rain will just go ahead and attack you with all the damage. But once you defeat the second phase of the rain fight, you've done it. You've achieved the true ending. The evil frog will give a little bit more dialogue, and then you'll get the victory cinematic, which is unique for each of the frogs. You won't be able to go on to Endless because with the true ending revealed, you've broken out of the time loop. Then you'll get a stamp on your victory screen, so take a screenshot of that, share the run, but make sure to mark it as a spoiler in the Discord. With this guide, I'm confident that you can challenge the secret final boss and get the true ending. Special thanks to these community members on the Die in the Dungeon Discord for contributing some of the tips that I shared today. If you're stuck, come join us there. We'd be happy to help you out. Comment below if you have managed to defeat the evil frog, and share this video with a friend if they're trying to do so as well.